Hey, what's up everyone? This is Zach, and I am here with a ranking video for you guys. Actually, a re-ranking for Metalcore Legends, Killswitch Engage. Now, Killswitch Engage, definitely one of the best bands in metalcore, and I don't think anyone would argue with that. Definitely a great band, and I do like both vocalists, Jesse Leach and Howard Jones. Now, which one do I prefer? For me personally, I prefer Jesse Leach, but I still like Howard Jones. I still think Howard Jones is a very good vocalist, for sure. Now, with this ranking, this re-ranking, we are going to include their newest album, This Consequence. This is going to be a re-ranking where I am going to be featuring their newest album. And there might have been some slight changes in this ranking as well. I'm not sure, but let's go ahead and get right into it with what I have last. Now, what I have last in this ranking at the bottom, it's got to be Killswitch Engage's second self-titled album with Howard Jones. And you know what? Even though this is last, I still think it's a good album. So there are no bad Killswitch Engage albums. I mean, honestly, you can listen to any of their albums and enjoy them. So the second self-titled album, it's got to be their weakest, but I still think it's quite good. I mean, of course, you have Never Again, Starting Over. You have Save Me as well, and Lost. There's some good stuff on this album. So, again, even though it's last, still pretty good album. But next, their other self-titled album, which is their debut, and this one has Jesse Leach on vocals. And this album has grown on me some. It has grown on me some. It is more raw. It's probably the band at their most raw, and this is just good old-fashioned metalcore. I mean, that's what you're going to get with this album. Yeah, you got Vide Infra, if I even said that right. That's, of course, a Killswitch Engage classic. And Soilburn, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the first Killswitch Engage songs that was ever written, and that's another favorite of mine on the album. But yeah, there's some good stuff on this album for sure. So the debut album, Killswitch Engage, it's solid. Not one of their best, of course, but solid. Next, The End of Heartache. And I know it might be rather unpopular for me to have this album towards the lower half of this ranking, like to rank this as not one of their best, but I think this album is honestly just a tad overrated. Just a little bit overrated. I don't think it's one of the greatest metalcore albums of all time, like a lot of people say, but it's still a good album. I still do like this album, don't get me wrong. It's still quite good. I mean, you got Take This Oath, of course. Of course, you have the title track. You have Rose of Sharon. World Ablaze is also good. But yeah, there's some good stuff on this album. Howard Jones sounds good and everything. And I do understand why this album does receive a lot of praise, a lot of hype and everything. And I get it. You know, I do get why this is, you know, such a big album in the scene of metalcore, but it's never been one of my personal favorites. I just prefer other albums from Killswitch Engage, but still, The End of Heartache, strong album, still very good. But next we have Incarnate, which I know I might get some looks for placing this album above The End of Heartache, but dare I say I do enjoy this album more. But with Incarnate, this has Jesse Leach, and this is definitely the weakest among the Jesse Leach being back in the band era. But this album is still quite good. It's still a very strong album. I mean, you have Alone I Stand, Hate by Design, Cut Me Loose, Strength of the Mind. You have Quiet Distress, which I think is kind of underrated. It Falls on Me, We Carry On. There's some good stuff on this album. Some very strong material, some good songwriting and things like that. Good melodies, good heaviness, all that good stuff. So, Incarnate, good album from Killswitch Engage. And I want to say this was actually one of my introductions to Killswitch Engage. This album was one of my first Killswitch albums, so there you have it. Incarnate, good album. Now, the next two in my ranking, they could flip-flop, they could go back and forth for me, but next we have Disarm the Descent, and this is the first album with Jesse coming back to the band. Good album for sure. I mean, I think that it's another very strong metalcore release. I mean, of course, you have Beyond the Flames, The New Awakening, In Due Time, which is a fan favorite Killswitch Engage track, really good one. You have The Call, you have No End in Sight, and of course, Always, really good one. So Disarm the Descent, really strong album from Killswitch Engage, good album. So next, now it's weird because I've actually seen some rankings, some re-rankings for Killswitch Engage, and some people have actually placed this at the very bottom. I mean, in some ways I get it, but I think that this album is really good. I think it's a very strong album from the band. So what's coming next is Killswitch Engage's newest album, This Consequence. Again, might seem rather unpopular to place this album where it is in my ranking, but you know what? I really enjoy this album. I think that this is another very strong release from Killswitch Engage. I mean, of course you have Abandon Us, definitely one of my favorites on this album. Aftermath is also good, Forever Aligned, I Believe, and Collusion, Broken Glass, and Requiem. Lots of good stuff, lots of really good stuff on this album. So yeah, definitely a strong release, and this album kind of felt like a, you could say a breath of fresh air, because, you know, when this came out earlier this year, it was their first album since Atonement, of course. So it's been quite a bit since Killswitch Engage put out an album before this. So, you know, I know it was highly anticipated and everything, and yeah, This Consequence, I think it's a good album. I mean, you could argue it is more of the same, which I know that some people might have that complaint with this record, but I don't really mind that. I think it's another strong release from Killswitch Engage. So next, we have the album that came before This Consequence, Atonement, which I think is definitely the best of the Jesse being back in the band era. I do remember when this came out as well, and I was very into this album when it first came out, and I still like this album. I still think it's another very strong release from Killswitch Engage. Unleashed, great song, The Signal Fire. That song has both Jesse Leach and Howard Jones, which is really cool. I Am Broken Too, one of the more melodic tracks on the album, and it's a more emotional one too, and it deals with like serious issues like mental health and stuff, so it's a good song. And of course you have Ravenous, I Can't Be the Only One, and Bite the Hand That Feeds, which is probably one of the heaviest Killswitch Engage songs, but great album. Definitely a great album from Killswitch Engage. If you haven't heard this one, I definitely recommend checking this out. So Atonement, it's coming in at number 3. Great album. But at number 2, we have As Daylight Dies, which is definitely my favorite of the Howard Jones era of Killswitch Engage. Definitely has some of the best Killswitch Engage songs with Howard Jones, and there's a lot of strong stuff on this album. This is Absolution, The Arms of Sorrow. You have My Curse, which is of course a Killswitch Engage classic. For You, which I think is kind of underrated. And I could really say the same for Break the Silence and Reject Yourself. Reject Yourself is probably one of my favorite Killswitch Engage songs, to be honest. I just really dig just the combination of heaviness and melody in that song, and I think that song has some very strong melodies. So As Daylight Dies, really good album, and definitely my favorite of the Howard Jones era of Killswitch Engage. But at number 1, you probably already know what it is at this point. it's got to be Alive or Just Breathing, which is their second album, and this was the last album with Jesse Leach for a little bit before he came back for Disarm the Descent. But Alive or Just Breathing, it's got to be my number one. It's got to be my number one, and I know it's number one for many Killswitch Engage fans as well. It has some of their best work. You have Numbered Days, you have My Last Serenade, which is, of course, another Killswitch Engage classic, a fan favorite song, Life to Lifeless, The Element of One, another great track. But yeah, this album, start to finish, front to back, it's just a very good album, very strong album, and yeah, probably one of the greatest metalcore albums to ever come out, honestly. I think this is a very strong album. So Alive or Just Breathing, definitely worth checking out. If you're not familiar with Killswitch Engage and you want an album to check out, I would say definitely check out this one. But again, they have never released a bad album, so you could listen to any of them and find some enjoyment. So, but Alive or Just Breathing, great album. So it's got to be number one. But that is my ranking for the Killswitch Engage discography, my re-ranking, which features their latest album, This Consequence. Let me know what you think, though. How would you rank the Killswitch Engage discography? Feel free to let me know in the comments. And what did you think of this ranking? So on that note, thank you all for watching. Take care and have a good one.